While grocery prices climb higher every week, that the Amish continue preparing filling meals for entire families that cost less than $1 to make. These aren't just recipes. They're survival strategies from generations who knew real poverty and developed dishes that stretch pennies into full bellies. Flour soup. The simplest Amish poverty meal requires just three ingredients that every household keeps on hand regardless of circumstances. Flour, water, and salt combine to create soup that fills stomachs when literally nothing else remains available in the pantry or cellar. The preparation involves browning flour in a dry pan until it develops nutty aroma and golden color. This toasting process creates flavor from nothing, transforming plain flour into something that tastes like food rather than paste. Once properly browned, water or milk gets added slowly while stirring to prevent lumps. Salt and a small amount of butter complete the dish. This Depression-era staple sustained families through the absolute worst economic times when even basic foods became unaffordable luxuries. The Amish remember these recipes not as historical curiosities, but as practical knowledge that might become necessary again during future hardships. The cost runs approximately 15 cents per serving when using the cheapest available flour. A family of 8 eats for barely over $1. The meal provides carbohydrates for energy and enough bulk to satisfy hunger, though nutritional completeness requires supplementation from other sources throughout the day. Bean soup. Dried beans represent one of humanity's most efficient protein sources, providing complete nutrition at costs that even struggling families can afford. 1 pound of dried beans, costing approximately $2, feeds 8 to 10 people when properly prepared as soup. The process begins with overnight soaking that softens beans and reduces cooking time. The next morning, soaked beans get transferred to large pots with fresh water, chopped onions if available, and basic seasonings of salt and pepper. Slow simmering for several hours transforms hard beans into tender, filling soup. The resulting meal costs roughly 40 cents per person while providing protein, fiber, and complex carbohydrates that sustain energy through demanding physical labor. Unlike expensive meat-based meals, bean soup can be prepared weekly without straining even the tightest budgets. Most Amish households prepare bean soup at least once weekly, viewing it not as poverty food but as practical nutrition that frees money for other necessities. The leftovers often taste even better the second day after flavors have melded together overnight. Some families add small amounts of ham bone or bacon for flavoring, but the basic recipe requires nothing beyond beans, water, onion, and seasonings to create satisfying meals that have sustained generations. Potato pancakes. Potatoes cost pennies per pound when purchased in bulk or grown in home gardens, making them the foundation for countless poverty meals that fill stomachs without emptying wallets. Potato pancakes transform this humble vegetable into breakfast or dinner that tastes special despite minimal ingredient costs. The preparation involves grating raw potatoes, then mixing them with small amounts of flour and egg to bind the mixture together. Salt and pepper provide seasoning. The resulting batter gets formed into patties and fried in lard or oil until golden brown and crispy outside while remaining tender inside. This meal particularly excels at using damaged or small potatoes that cannot be stored long term. Rather than letting imperfect potatoes rot, families transform them into immediate meals. A 5-pound bag of potatoes costing $2 creates enough pancakes to feed a family of 6, bringing the per-serving cost to approximately 60 cents. The pancakes get served with homemade applesauce, sour cream if available, or simply eaten plain with butter. The crispy texture and satisfying bulk make this simple dish feel more special than its minimal cost suggests. Children particularly love potato pancakes, making them valuable for getting young ones to eat without complaint, even during difficult economic periods when food choices become extremely limited. Cornmeal mush. Cornmeal represents one of the cheapest available grains, storing for months while providing the carbohydrates necessary for sustaining families through physical labor. Cornmeal mush stretches this inexpensive ingredient into multiple meals from a single batch of cooking. The basic preparation involves slowly stirring cornmeal into boiling salted water, cooking until the mixture thickens into porridge consistency. Butter and additional salt enhance flavor. The hot mush gets served immediately for breakfast, providing stick-to-your-ribs sustenance that maintains energy through morning farm chores. What makes this meal particularly economical is its transformation into a second dish. Leftover mush gets poured into loaf pans and cooled until firm. The solidified cornmeal can then be sliced and fried in oil or lard, creating crispy exterior and creamy interior. This fried version often gets served for dinner with syrup or jam. One batch of cornmeal mush costing perhaps 50 cents creates both breakfast for 8 people and dinner for 4 or 5. The per-serving cost drops to approximately 25 cents, making it one of the most economical meals possible. The recipe has fed Amish families for generations and continues appearing on breakfast tables today. Milk toast. Nothing goes to waste in Amish kitchens, including bread that has dried out beyond palatability for normal eating. Milk toast transforms stale bread into comfort food that costs almost nothing while providing surprising satisfaction. The simple preparation involves toasting dried bread slices until lightly browned, then placing them in bowls. Hot milk, seasoned with salt, pepper, and butter, gets poured over the toast, creating a warm, soft meal that requires no chewing and goes down easily. This dish serves particularly important purpose for sick family members, elderly individuals with poor teeth, or young children learning to eat solid foods. The mild flavor and soft texture make it acceptable when appetites fail during illness. The cost runs approximately 30 cents per serving, using bread that would otherwise be discarded and milk from the family cow. The nutritional value remains limited, but it provides comfort and calories during times when more substantial meals cannot be tolerated. Many elderly Amish individuals remember milk toast as sickbed food from childhood, creating emotional connections that transcend its humble ingredients and simple preparation. Fried bread dough. Bread baking occurs weekly in Amish households, creating occasional excess dough that becomes opportunity rather than waste. Instead of discarding extra dough or baking unnecessary loaves, families fry small pieces into special treats that children anticipate eagerly. The process takes small portions of raised bread dough and fries them in hot oil until golden brown and puffy. The exterior crisps, while the interior remains soft and yeasty. Served hot with syrup, jam, or honey, these fried dough pieces taste remarkably similar to expensive bakery donuts. Children view fried dough as special occasion food despite its origins in avoiding waste. The treats cost approximately 20 cents per serving when calculated from ingredient costs of the original bread dough plus minimal frying oil. This transformation of excess into celebration demonstrates Amish resourcefulness that finds joy in simplicity. Rather than needing expensive commercial treats to create happiness, families generate excitement from basic ingredients handled creatively. The practice teaches children that satisfaction doesn't require spending money at stores, and that homemade items from everyday ingredients can exceed commercial alternatives in both taste and meaning. The memories of eating warm fried dough last long after the treats themselves disappear. Oatmeal porridge. Oats cost less than most grains, while providing sustained energy that carries workers through demanding morning labor. Properly prepared oatmeal porridge creates breakfast that maintains blood sugar steadily rather than spiking and crashing like sugary cereals. The Amish preparation differs from quick oats most modern families eat. Steel-cut or rolled oats get cooked slowly with plenty of water, often in huge pots that feed entire families. Salt, milk, and honey or maple syrup enhance the basic oats into genuinely satisfying breakfast. The cost per serving runs approximately 35 cents, with one large pot feeding 8 to 10 people. The investment of time and slow cooking creates texture and flavor that instant varieties cannot match. Leftover porridge doesn't go to waste. Like cornmeal mush, cooled oatmeal can be sliced and fried, creating second meal from breakfast remains. The fried oatmeal develops crispy exterior while maintaining creamy center, served for dinner with butter and syrup. This double-duty approach to single cooking session maximizes efficiency and minimizes cost. One batch of oats becomes two completely different meals, stretching a 50-cent investment across 16 servings between breakfast and dinner. Cabbage and noodles. When meat becomes unaffordable or unavailable, the Amish turn to vegetable-based meals that provide bulk and satisfaction despite lacking animal protein. Cabbage and noodles represents classic poverty dish that feeds families adequately while costing almost nothing. The preparation starts with homemade egg noodles, created from flour, eggs, and salt rolled thin and cut into strips. While noodles can be purchased, homemade versions cost perhaps half as much and taste superior. The noodles get boiled until tender, then drained. Meanwhile, cabbage gets sliced thin and fried in butter or lard with onions until soft and slightly caramelized. The cooked noodles combine with fried cabbage, creating a simple dish that somehow exceeds the sum of its basic parts. One large cabbage, costing perhaps $1, combines with homemade noodles, costing another 50 cents to feed a family of 8. The per-serving cost runs approximately 70 cents, making this affordable even during difficult financial periods. The meal provides carbohydrates from noodles and vitamins from cabbage, though protein remains limited. Amish families often serve this dish on meatless days, recognizing that occasional vegetarian meals reduce expenses significantly while maintaining adequate nutrition across the week. The leftovers taste excellent reheated, with flavors deepening overnight as cabbage and noodles continue melding together. Potato soup. Potato soup appears on Amish tables several times weekly, utilizing small or damaged potatoes that cannot be stored long-term but provide immediate nutrition at minimal cost. This simple soup feeds families for pennies while creating satisfaction that more expensive meals often fail to match. The basic recipe combines diced potatoes with chopped onions in water or milk, cooking until potatoes become tender. A flour and butter roux gets stirred in to thicken the soup into creamy consistency. Salt, pepper, and occasionally bacon or ham provide flavoring. The beauty of this dish lies in its flexibility. Small potatoes, imperfect ones with spots cut away, or even potato peelings become acceptable ingredients. Nothing gets wasted when making soup, unlike baked potatoes requiring perfect specimens. A 5-pound bag of potatoes costing $2 creates soup feeding 8 to 10 people. Adding milk, flour, and seasonings brings total cost to approximately $4 or 50 cents per serving. For families drinking milk from their own cows, the cost drops even lower. The soup provides a filling meal that sustains energy through afternoon work. Served with homemade bread, it becomes complete dinner, requiring no additional courses or expensive sides to satisfy hungry workers. Egg gravy. Backyard chickens provide steady protein source even when families cannot afford meat purchases. Egg gravy transforms this reliable resource into breakfast or dinner that fills stomachs while costing barely anything beyond the effort of collecting eggs. The preparation involves making basic white gravy from flour, milk, butter, salt, and pepper. While this gravy simmers, eggs get scrambled in separate pan. The scrambled eggs then get stirred into the gravy, creating protein-rich sauce served over bread, biscuits, or potatoes. This meal appears during periods when meat becomes unavailable or unaffordable. Rather than serving plain eggs that feel inadequate as main course, the gravy transformation makes eggs seem more substantial and meal-like. The cost runs approximately 55 cents per serving when using homemade bread and eggs from family chickens. Store-bought ingredients would double this cost but still remain remarkably economical compared to meat-based alternatives. Children often prefer egg gravy over plain scrambled eggs, making this valuable for getting adequate protein into growing bodies even when food budgets tighten significantly. The gravy disguises the eggs enough that picky eaters accept them more readily. Poor man's gravy. Sometimes called flour gravy or depression gravy, this ultimate poverty dish creates something from almost nothing. When meat, vegetables, and even potatoes run low, flour and fat combine into gravy that makes plain bread palatable enough to eat. The technique involves browning flour in bacon grease, lard, or butter until it develops color and nutty flavor. Water or milk gets whisked in gradually, creating smooth gravy despite humble ingredients. Salt and pepper provide the only seasoning necessary. This gravy gets poured over bread, potatoes, or even just eaten with a spoon when nothing else exists. The cost runs approximately 20 cents per serving, using ingredients every household maintains even during hardest times. While this represents true poverty food that families hope